Hi there, in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your radish seedlings for the growth experiment. So I'm doing this at home in my garden. I've got helpers around me, I've got the child and I've got the dog who are inevitably going to interfere with this at some point, so apologies if they start to get in the way. So we've given you some radish seedlings and some compost, and what we're going to do is to grow up some radish seedlings, and then once the seedlings have started to appear, we're going to subject some of them to a salt stress and see whether we can see an effect on growth. So I do recommend that as soon as you get the kit that you start up the experiment at home. So the longer the radishes have had to grow, the more likely it is that we're going to be able to see an effect of the salt treatment. So get this done as soon as you get the kit. So let's have a look what we need to do to set up this experiment. So to set up the radish experiment, you're going to need your bag of compost, your plant trays, your radish seeds, some plant pot labels, your recycled takeaway tub and some water. So to set this up, what you need to do is, first of all, so this is peat-free compost we've given you, so you need to fill your plant tray with that peat-free compost. So you want to push the compost into the tray and just kind of firm it down a little bit with your fingers like that. Maybe put a little bit more in each of those like that, so each one is, and not really firmly compacted, but it will compact down just a little bit. Okay, so you've got your tray like that. Just pour off the excess. Apologies, that's my child in the background trying to take part in this. So we've got our tray of compost. Now what we want to do is, in each of those wells, is to just dib down in there to make some holes in the surface. So we can just dib in there, so 3 per well. And then we've got our radish seeds. So what we're going to do is put 3 seeds in each of those wells. So if you just drop them in, or drop them onto the surface of the soil, try and get them in the holes if you can. Just dib them in like that. So you've got 3 seeds per well. It doesn't matter if a couple of them have 4 or a couple of them have 2, but you're trying to go for 3 per well. We're going to weed them out when they've germinated, so we have 2 plants per well in here. So I'm just putting those last few seeds in. So there we go. We've got 3 seeds per well in there. Okay, and you can see some of those have come to the surface a little bit. So I'm just going to dib those in with the label so that they're nice and underneath the surface. I'm then going to, so once those have been patted in, just going to get a little bit more compost and just fill each well, so cover it over so we've got them nice and covered like that, and then just push down the surface of the soil like that. And again, just wipe off the excess. Okay, so we've now got our seeds in the trays. So now what we're going to do is to pop that. So I've got just tap water in my tray. So I'm just going to pop my my seed tray into that water and leave it for about half an hour, maybe an hour. It depends on how long it takes for the tray to become fully soaked. And what you're looking for is the surface being moist on the top, so that the water has reached all the way up. So leave that for about half an hour or so, so that it's fully soaked through. While you're waiting for it to soak, if you don't need any of the rest of the compost, you can throw the rest of the compost away, but you need to keep the bag. You need to keep that bag and wash it out, because we're going to need that for the germination experiment. So once you've got your compost, you can throw the rest of the compost away, wash out the bag and let it dry, because you're going to need that for the germination experiment. So this has now been soaking for about 40 minutes, so you can see that the cardboard at the top has started to get soggy, and you can feel that the compost on the top has got moist. So it's more than important that you leave it until you can feel the compost being moist. It doesn't matter about the amount of time, it's just making sure it's thoroughly soaked through. You might see a couple of seeds come to the surface a little bit, so if you do see that, then just sort of pop your dibber in and just push the seeds slightly further down in the soil. And make sure they're nice and covered so they've got good contact with there. And then just press gently into each of the wells. Okay, so once you think it's properly soaked, then just take it out of the tub temporarily and just throw the water away. You don't want it sitting soaking in water all the time, so put your tub back in. and pop that in there. And then you just want to get one of your plant labels and just put the date that you started the experiment. So for me, that's the 20th of the 4th, just so you remember what you were doing. So pop that in there. So that's now ready to go and sit in a nice bright space. So a windowsill would be ideal. I'm going to go and put mine in my greenhouse because I'm lucky I've got greenhouse. And then hopefully in the next 4 to 7 days we should start to see some radish seeds germinating.